Good afternoon, Big Brother fans. Okay, it's October 2nd. Yes, day 79, maybe? I don't have... I'm just winging it. It's actually late afternoon in the Big Brother house on Wednesday. I had the day off to run some errands, and so I was not able to do a CartCast this morning. It's not like you missed much. Nothing is really going on of any note. Chemo's going to get voted out on Thursday. Okay, let's just leave it there. There you go. There's your update. I'll tell you a bit more, but there really just isn't much going on. Yesterday, Mackenzie spent 4 hours making a cake and decorating it. Right, making and decorating a cake with the words "Big Brother Final 5 on it. I think Final 5, whatever it was. It was, I mean, look, it was out of boredom and she did it and it was great and they ate the cake after she did it. So, you know what? It's better than just laying around and doing absolutely nothing all day, which they do a lot of that too. As far as, I said, today's, maybe I said it last night that I would do this, or yesterday that I would do this, and I tweeted about it. I just don't have a whole lot to talk about Big Brother right now. I'm going to finish up bits here, but I'm going to talk about a few other things. So the actual update's going to be very small today, but I'm going to talk for like another 15, 20 minutes probably at least about other things. You can choose to stay and listen if you want. If not, you can go do your whatever you have to do. I don't blame you. The only other thing of real note, maybe two other things of real note yesterday. I read this from several different people. I did not witness it, but I did see several people tweet about it. Mackenzie told Chelsea that she would be okay I think she said she'd be okay if Chelsea got rid of her before the final two, kind of a thing. I don't know if I could beat you, or I probably should get rid of you. And I think Chelsea said same, and both implying that they were going to take each other. I don't know if they are or not. There was also discussion about after Chemo was gone this week, who should go next between Cam and Rubina. And they've talked about, they seem to be implying that they're going to take Rubina, but they're also wondering if they should take Rubina. So I don't know. And I just, at this point, Chelsea should win this game. And I say that because the only reason Mackenzie should win it is because she's won more competitions than Chelsea, but Mackenzie's doesn't have the ability to, she's not a good speaker, live and under pressure, right? And I haven't really seen her do any of the game work of the, Chelsea actually is working the jury as she gets ready to send them out. She's had conversations with Chemo. She's kind of prepping him. Mackenzie doesn't do any of that. Maybe I'll touch on that in my later on when I talk about, in a bit I'm going to talk about Sharon Tharp interviewed Paul from Big Brother 18 and 19, and I actually watched the whole darn thing, and I have a few thoughts. So this actually kind of plays into that, because Paul was roughly, I think, Mackenzie's age the first time he was in Big Brother. I think he said he was 23, and Mackenzie's 22. So, he's about the same age as she was, just out of college. I might as well talk about it now. So one of the things Paul said in his interview with Sharon was he didn't know about Big Brother. He was a recruit just like Paul, or just like Mackenzie. And he didn't know Big Brother very well. And he talked about goodbye messages. Sharon asked him about his goodbye message. I don't remember 90% of Paul's Big Brother time at this point. At this point, it's all a blur to me. Sharon could tic-tac things and talk about his relationship with so-and-so, and just, I can't remember any of that. I watched it, I lived it, and then I'm done with it. I move on. There's very few things I retain from previous seasons of Big Brother, unless they're big moments or moments that I was just really invested in and I kind of grab a hold of it. There are things that I remember about different seasons of Big Brother that other people are like, why do you still remember that? Well, that's just how we are, right? That's how we are all about things. But Sharon talked about Paul's goodbye messages. And apparently, and again, I don't remember, maybe you do, at least for maybe the second season, the first season, they weren't very good. They weren't very, it wasn't very good in the jury management, right? And it talks about how he lost by 1 vote both times. So all the questions have always been Paul's jury management. Now, I'm stepping way over here to talk about this for a second, but I will get back to Mackenzie, because all of this right now, what I'm talking about, relates to why I don't think Mackenzie will win, even if it's her versus Chelsea. Because I don't think she's done a good job of jury management. I think Chelsea has. Chelsea's also like 4 years older than Mackenzie, and that may not seem like a lot, but I think your mid-20s, you can go from being, and you can have people that are in their 20s. There are people in their mid and late 20s that haven't figured it out. I know that at 25, there was a lot of other 25-year-olds that were way ahead of me on the maturity scale. You know, I didn't figure out my life for at least a couple, 3 more years after 25 probably. And by that time I was married and had a kid, right? That kind of snaps you into reality. Some people it does, some people it doesn't. But again, Paul apparently, as some of you know well, and I don't barely recall, didn't do a very good job with his jury management with his farewell messages. I mean, I know he didn't do a good job with his jury management. I've always said that. More specifically in the second season than the first season. First season, I thought he should have won. The second season, I thought I was rooting against him to win. I hate to say that, but I didn't think he should have lost to Nicole. So Sharon asked him about his farewell messages, and he's like, I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know they were going to see those. I thought they watched him from the hotel room afterwards or something. I didn't know. So he didn't even know that little bit, right? He had no idea how the goodbye. And Paul said, I didn't even watch the show after I was off the show. So, and now maybe he did or maybe he didn't, but this is what Paul said. He said, I didn't watch it, so I did not understand how this worked. And so, you know, now Mackenzie, I think she knows they get to see the farewell messages. But I'm just saying, in general, Mackenzie doesn't seem to really try to work on those house guests that are going to get voted out. Trying to kind of like, yeah, I really want to watch this stay, but there's not much I can do. And any of the things you can do to make it seem like it's not your fault that they're getting voted out, even if you're one of the ones voting them out, right? You just want to leave them on a good note. Chelsea has worked fairly hard at that. She's worked she's worked a decent amount to kind of pet them and make them feel comfortable while they're getting shoved out the door. So that's why I think that Mackenzie can't beat Chelsea, even if it's just the two of them. That's why I can't see any way for Chelsea to lose this game unless she doesn't manage to get to the final 2. And I don't think she's not going to get to the final 2, right? I can't see how that's not going to happen. All right. So that is that's that bit. So Chelsea and Mackenzie were talking, and Mackenzie saying, I should probably get rid of you, or you should get rid of me, or however it went on. Okay, so there was a little game talk, right? That's about it for game talk. The other thing was, and I'm going to go back and get this audio for Scott from the Big Brother Gossip, from the former Big Brother Gossip show, but Scott and Colette still talk about it, and they still play clips. And so Scott asked if anybody had a decent audio clip of this conversation that happened, or a couple different conversations that happened late last night, when maybe the house guests have been drinking a little bit, I'm not sure, but whether they had or not, it was a discussion about Chelsea saying something to the effect that she's going to kiss Cam after the show, like at the after party. There aren't usually after parties anymore, by the way, but let's pretend there is an after party. Surely the house guests will get together and go out drinking, or there will be a group of them that will go out drinking. And what Chelsea was implying was, I'm gonna lay one on Cam after the show, after we're out of the house. Now, I may have a better take on this after I go back and find that and listen to it and everything. But for now, let's just pretend that's what it was. That's what that made a lot of the mentions online. And so there's your excitement for yesterday in the Big Brother house. And today, they've done nothing. They've talked about, I saw that they were going to talk about doing play games, maybe do facials. They talked about doing a pillow fight, and they started to have a pillow fight, and Big Brother told them no. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all kind of funny. That's what's going on in the Big Brother house. We're just waiting for tomorrow. There is no show tonight. Most of you won't even hear this podcast until after you should have been watching tonight's show. But there isn't a show tonight. It's a 2-hour show tomorrow night. All right. So, and I'll talk to you guys before tomorrow night's show. All right, so there's your Big Brother summary wrap-up of the current season. I'm going to talk about a little bit about this other stuff. I'm not going to talk, I got a list here. I'm going to read you my whole list and we'll see what all I get to, right? I want to talk about Paul and Sharon, the interview that I just spent. I was driving, I had an hour and a half drive one way, and now I'm on my hour and a half drive the other way, but I only have like 15 minutes to go. So I listened to / watched the Sharon Paul interview on that drive over to where I was going. And like I said, hour and 15 minutes. It was quite an interview. But I'm going to talk about that, bits of that. Talk very briefly, mention Traitors, very briefly. Wow, my handwriting is terrible. Love is Blind. Anonymous, The Circle, and Big Brother UK. Those are all the things that I have written down that I want to touch on. So I will blast through. I'll blast through these other things, and then I'll go back to the Paul Sharon thing. That way I don't miss the other ones. Traitors Canada, I think I already talked about it. The first episode's dropped. You can watch it on CTV if you have a VPN. You can turn on the VPN, pretend you're in Canada. Sometimes you have to have a special. Sometimes they recognize your VPN. But really, if you go to dailymotion.com and you search for Big Brother Canada Season 2, you should be able to find at least the first episode. Sometimes they get mislabeled and stuff, but just look around for it a little bit if you want to. Eventually, I may post them another way, like I have the other versions of Traitor that are out there hidden on Big Brother Gossip. We'll see. We'll get to that. Anonymous, I have not watched this week's episode, so we're getting right near. We're getting near the end, I believe, and so I've stuck with it. I have stuck with it, and I've been enjoying it. It's enjoyable. It's okay. I can't swear that I'm going to watch another season unless I know somebody on it. Like somebody from another show, or maybe somebody I know, kind of even. But that kind of thing. It is what it is. I haven't watched The Circle in forever, and there's actually seasons of The Circle that I know the people that were on it. There's some people that were involved with Sequester that have been on it, and I still haven't watched it, so that's bad on my part. But we're not going to talk about The Circle yet. We're going to talk about Love is Blind. Love is Blind, I think, is in maybe it's in 4 or 5 episodes in maybe at this point. I'm not sure. I've seen people tweeting about it. That is a guilty pleasure watch for me, and I need to start binge watching it before I see too much spoiled online. So that's a totally guilty pleasure watch for me, though. It is trash TV, man. But I do enjoy it, so I need to check it out. Like I said before, because the pods part is the best part a lot of times. Once they get out of the pods, it's a little bit of a whatever. But the pods are interesting. I kind of enjoy that part. The Circle season, I think, just wrapped maybe. And I saw somebody tweet that it had just wrapped, and they enjoyed the way it wrapped up. I also saw someone else who hated the way it ended. So I don't know if I'm going to watch The Circle. I'm just not sure. The Circle UK was, to me, so much better than the regular Circle. And saying that, as I said, that's the one reality show I've actually submitted a video and applied for. I applied for The Circle after season 1. And obviously here I am, and nothing happened, and they didn't even ping me thanks for your application. So I have a feeling I am not reality TV material, at least not that group of people. I think I really need to get on Instagram and get a bunch of followers. My followers on Twitter don't seem to be pulling the attention of the casting folks. Anyways, BBUK, I just saw this and just retweeted it today. It premieres on Sunday. So I believe it'll be 4 or 5 or 6 nights a week, which is a lot, and there's going to be some type of live feeds too. It's a lot to invest in, especially for a show that's, it's a lot, but I will probably invest in it. Although I may watch it in spurts. I may watch it 3 or 4 episodes in a row, because there will also be a regular show and a after show, so 2 hours. A lot of nights will be 2 hours, and yeah, but it's good. Big Brother UK I like Big Brother UK. So, that's starting. You'll probably see me tweet about it. That is not as easy to watch. I don't recall how easy it is to watch on Daily Motion. I'm not sure if it is. So that may be get yourself a good VPN. I use PIA. I think it's 40. I think I pay $35 or $40 a year, and it's PIA stands for Private Internet Access. And I just turn it on. And they actually have, in some countries, the one you choose is optimized for streaming, and that's the one that seems to let you pretend that you live in the UK and watch the UK shows, right? To whatever ITX is I think is the streaming company there's the company that streams it. So, anyways, that's a little bit more. So there's that. Okay, now I am like 5 minutes from home, so we're gonna wrap this up talking about Paul and Sharon, and really I don't have a ton. I kind of went into it right there, the talking about Paul. This is my analysis of the interview, which Paul, for what it's worth, I put out a tweet. I knew, and when I do this, I know I'm doing it, and I know that Sharon's going to see it, and I even added Paul, so I knew he probably would see it. So let's not pretend that I'm not, I'm saying things that I know they're going to see. And at the same time, I'm not trying to kiss anybody's butt. I'm getting no great. Being nice to Sharon isn't earning me anything. Being nice to Paul is getting me nothing. They're not going to get me more followers. They're not going to get me. Sharon gives me a retweet every once in a while, but it's not. I'm not doing it. If I didn't like it, I just wouldn't do it. I'm sincere that I thought it was a good interview. It started out a bit slow. Paul is I guess notoriously a hard interview. He started out, he's not even facing the camera. I don't know what he was doing because I was driving. But all I can see is he's not looking at the camera. He's got his earbuds in or something, and he's just kind of talking to Sharon, which is fine. You don't need to see somebody a lot of these interviews. You're not seeing me while I do this. Adding the video doesn't help a lot. But, so the beginning of the first 20 minutes at least is Paul talking about nothing about reality TV, nothing about Big Brother. Paul is just talking about artifacts and antiques and antiquity and oh gosh, now this is terrible. His heritage. I hate to say, I can't think of his guy. This is with an A. It's not Azerbaijan. I can't remember right now. Armenian. There, I got it. Oh, thank God. So he's talking about that. But Paul is the guy who has a place in Burbank that he's staying. I don't know if he owns the place or what. He also mentioned he lives in New York, and he travels to Armenia. So I don't know what Paul's doing. He didn't win the show. I think he's doing okay money-wise, right? But he's straight. He seems to be a straight shooter when he's talking. He's straight up with Sharon. I admire Sharon's interview skills. I do not know how she does it, because some of the stuff that Paul said, if I was interviewing him, I would have been like, wait. Let's talk about this one specific thing. And she doesn't do that. She just lets it go and moves on. And I just, how can you not ask about that, Sharon? And she doesn't. She knows how to do it, and that's why she's a professional, right? So she does a good job with the interview. She lets Paul just go and go, and she got an hour and 15 minutes out of it. And he eventually does start talking about reality TV. It's quite interesting if you listen to it, and I would encourage you to. He thinks, and I don't necessarily agree with some of his takes on it too, right? He said things like, he thinks that the individual time competitions can be rigged by production. In other words, he said, he literally said, there were some competitions that when they announced certain people's times, he's like, no way. Like, no way did they beat me, or no way was they that short, just whatever, that long or that short. He felt like Big Brother just kind of just said, let's say this person took 30 minutes and let's say this person took 31. And I'm not saying those are the numbers he said. He just made it sound like he felt conspiracy. He said, look, and he's not wrong in this part. He says, look, they're putting on a huge network television show, the producers. You think they're going to let 16 people that they've just cast determine exactly how things go. No, they're going to guide the show. They're going to direct the show. They want it to make money and they need it to be good. So they're going to do what they, And I think they actually let it flow more than they could. But I also think that sometimes they get a hand in stuff, right? So I don't think we're all kind of that way. But he was interesting. He was very honest in his opinions for sure. He also felt like Sharon, speaking of traders that we mentioned, Sharon asked him about the traders, if he'd heard of it. And Paul, and I don't even remember if Paul's the one that brought Mafia, playing the game Mafia in the Big Brother house. They play that game sometimes. They played it. Paul says that he's the one who started that in the house. I don't know. Could be. And he's convinced that the people that created Traders saw him doing it in the Big Brother house, and that's how they decided to make that show. Now, I will say this is what drives me bonkers about Paul. It's like some of the stuff is like, I don't think Paul really believes that, but I think it sounds good, and so Paul's going to say it. And there were certain things that Paul said in that interview that I'm like, oh, come on. But it reminded me of the Paul. It just reminded me of Paul from when he was on the show. So he was entertaining. As I said, he's already liked my tweet where I mentioned listening to it. So I know he's seen it. And not that I said anything big, he's not going to listen to this. He said Sharon, he talked about, Sharon asked him, would you do another season of Big Brother? And Paul's like, I would never, ever do 3 months. No. 3 weeks? Sure. 3 months? No, never again. And then he kind of talked about, well, I could do it all. I could do one with, big names and stuff, but because I guess I'd forgotten that he said he wouldn't do All Stars. But he said, but if he did something, it'd have to be short. It'd have to be really big names and da-da. And I'm just like, you're talking about reindeer games, dude. That's exactly what you're talking about. And Sharon said, have you heard of reindeer games? And he's like, what's that? What? No. And he was dead serious. And it just reminded me of Paul in the Big Brother house when people would tell him how Big Brother worked. And you're like, what? That's how this show works? I don't know. I don't know anything about this show. I just showed up and I'm in here. So it was very Paul. And it was kind of fun to hear him talking that way because it reminded me of him in the house. And I did like Paul in the house. My issues with Paul came about with season 18, which is kind of funny now because I just didn't like the way Paul, I felt, manipulated the other house guests, which he argued very strongly in this interview about how, look, I was the only returnee. I was up against the wall. Sure, they gave me friendship bracelets, but that meant I could only give them to, 8 people. The rest of the people didn't get them. And I get all that. But I did have a problem with some of his tactics, which I didn't appreciate. But now, in retrospect, the people that I felt that they were picking on and everything are total. I've got them blocked on my Twitter. I don't want them to ever see my stuff because I don't. I'm not fans of theirs at all, and so I feel bad that I kind of gave Paul grief because it's like, you know what? I don't care now at this point. That guy's a psycho. That guy's a nut job, and so I feel a little bit bad. Sorry, Paul. Again, he won't hear this. All right, so anyways, good interview by Sharon. After that interview finished, it started playing Pauly, and I don't think I'm ready to listen to Pauly, guys. I did Paul. I don't think I can do Pauly. Maybe sometime in the future I'll say, you know what, I finally listened to Sharon's interview with Pauly, and Pauly's an all right guy, but right now, no, don't need to listen to Pauly. Not my cup of tea. So there you go. It is Wednesday night. There is no show tonight. I will post this in a little bit here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. I got to give my patrons a shout out in the next couple of days, and I will do that, but not tonight. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your support, everybody. We're getting close to the end here, guys. And yeah, I'm ready for it. I really am. Take care. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.